Back with JT Wall, the head coach of the John Millage Trojans, coming off a second straight state championship. High school football is always cyclical, of course, because these guys are not on long term contracts. So every other year or so, a lot of teams have to kind of reload, and that's what's happening at John Millage this year. Grayson Hopkins, the quarterback, gone, of course. Ahmad Foston, your great running back, is now at Virginia. He really didn't play last year because of the injury, and then you had Landon Burney take over. Boy, coach, you've got a lot of talent to replace with only one returning starter this year on that offense. It's going to be a challenge for you. But I mean, you are you to the point where your program has built up to where you've got kids interested enough in wanting to develop over time? I mean, you can't just snap your fingers and say, all right, we need 10th graders right now, right? But are you to that point where you can build up talent as you go along here to where this won't be that big of a drop off, or are you kind of concerned going into this year?
Well, I mean, anytime you have 22, 23 seniors like we just had, there's going to be some sort of drop off when you look at it. And, with these colleges allowing them to play an extra year in college due to COVID, I was really kind of holding out hope that the high school was going to do the same thing, that we could get these seniors back for one more year, but that didn't happen. But no, I mean, we've got a lot of kids interested, a lot of kids working hard. The bar's been set. The bar was set years ago about where we want to be in December, and that doesn't change year in year out with who's in here. These guys, we got a bunch of these guys who are seniors and juniors and sophomores who last year were a year younger. Saw a lot of time at the varsity level, and we've had a good JV season the last few years. So these guys are working hard, and it's their time, and they're ready to roll.
Quarterback, what's your situation there? That's always the key, right?
Well, we had three good ones last year. Two of them graduated, and Grayson Hopkins and Patrick McDonald. Both guys ran 4.5 40s, and were big time players for us. This year we've got two guys right now: Briggs Edie, who's a rising junior, and Colt McMichael, who's a rising freshman. So these guys are battling it out. Both of them bring different things to the table, and it's going to be a good battle, year in, year out for that spot. I mean, that's a coveted spot around here that these guys learn to, they're an extension of the head coach or the OC on the field. I mean, they got to know this offense backwards and forwards more so sometimes than I do, because they can have the flexibility to make the checks and put us in the right play on Friday night.
One starter back on offense, three back on defense. Is it going to take into October if you didn't know what you've got?
I don't know. I mean, we say that every year, as long as we get better each week. But at the same time, we're still dealing with power rankings like we did last year. So you really can't afford to do too much trial and error early on in the year, because it may bite you when those final rankings come out. But as long as we're better in December than we are in August, I'll be happy.
All right, we'll see what happens. The first game, of course, is on the 27th at Brentwood. That's a tough one to start off the season with. JT, always a pleasure to have you on. Thank you so much. Good luck again this year.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Bill, for having me.
Coach's Corner with JT Wall, the head coach at John Millage Academy, now in his 11th season as the head coach. We're getting old, JT. And another state championship last year, two in a row. It's just great. I mean, winning's great, right? You can't beat success.
It's winning is the most addictive drug in the world, in my opinion, and we're trying to translate that to these players to know that they've got to continue to work hard. The bar's been set, and it's a great feeling, a great tradition to continue to keep doing that. But it's hard to stay at the top, and it's hard to keep achieving that success. But that's what we're striving for.
No doubt about it. Well, tremendous success, tremendous season last year, scoring 43 a game, allowing only 2.5 games. Let's talk about your defense for a moment. You've only got three stars back on your defense. Marcus Presswood, your great wide receiver, is going to be back at cornerback, but you got two more. What do you look at now with your defense? I mean, that's kind of going to be hard to repeat, right? To have to get a defense that can be that good again. But what kind of talent do you have competing here this 6 weeks before the season starts?
Like you said, we have three returning starters: Marcus Presswood, Dawson Smith, and Banks Edie. And that's really, the offense always gets a lot of the pub, a lot of the ink in the paper and on the news. But year in, year out, we've really leaned on our defense, and that's really what makes us go. These guys allowed 27 total points last year, but Coach Mills, our defense coordinator, does a great job. he always reminds me that 7 of those 27 was a pick six we threw at Savannah. So really, they only allowed 20. But we've got a good tradition, and these guys have worked hard. We've got a lot of young guys. We've got a lot of sophomores and juniors that got a lot of playing time last year as freshmen and sophomores. But we say it every year. It's easy to play when you're up by 30. When we put you in the game, when it's 0-0 or we're down 7 or 14, that's when it's tough. So we're going to see what a lot of these young guys are made of. We've been in this situation before, having a pretty good young team, and had a lot of success with them. So hopefully these guys can translate and have some of the same results.
I know it's a more favorable condition when you have a lot of seniors coming in and returning starters coming back. But as a coach, is it kind of fun to see what you can kind of mold into making a team like this?
It is. I mean, we've said all summer, this year we're actually going to have to coach. I mean, we're going to have to earn our paycheck this year. Last year we just lined them up and let them play, because that group of seniors for us, most 90% of them were starters for us as sophomores, and that really helped translate the success we had the last 3 years, and we're almost in that same boat now. But it's kind of more exciting, because you've got different game plans. We're changing a lot of things we've done for 11 years, just try to formulate more to the talent we have this year. I mean, because each year in, year out, is a different group of guys that are bringing a different thing to the table. So we're trying to put them in positions to have success.
Even more work to do on offense where there's only one starter returning. We will talk about that with JT Wall, talking about John Milledge football in our next report.